hope y'all's life has been straight. You feel me? I really, really hope y'all life has been straight, bro. Like, I hope God has been blessing y'all, you know what I'm saying? Revealing stuff to you, speaking to you through his word, speaking to you through people, through circumstances, because I know he has for me, that's for sure. Today, I didn't really have a specific topic, but I know I did want to speak life into you, and I'm going to do that through what someone spoke into me, and that is that we bind all depression, suppression, and oppression. That is that we bind depression, suppression, and oppression. We bind that in the name of Jesus. I say that because I feel as if, like I said, we're all collective. I don't know if it can't be everybody, but I know that the enemy has come against Lord's people. And he's been trying to dim our light. He's been trying to get us in the mindset that God is not with us, that God is doing things to harm us, as he did to Job, that God is trying to take away from us. But that is not God. That is not God. I come here to tell you that that is not God, and that those thoughts those thoughts that you are having are not your thoughts. You feel me? That is the enemy trying to speak loudly into your head. You feel me? So today and going forward, when you get one negative thought, replace it with 2 positive thoughts. Please, when you get any thoughts about harming yourself, when you get any thoughts about feeling like you're not enough, not worthy, those are all lies from the enemy. Replace it with 2 positive thoughts. And they don't even have to be about yourself if you don't have the dignity to speak about yourself in that way. They could just be about someone that you love, because everyone has people that they love. Just speak life. You have to speak life, because that is not God. I want to tell you that. And your thoughts are not your thoughts. You're just the observer of your thoughts. You observe what passes through your head. You feel me? So you don't have to take ownership for all of it, all of the things that go through your head. Because if you did, well, all of us would be under the jail. You feel me? All of us would be under the prison. Let's be so for real right now. So I want y'all to try and do that and be more intentional about taking every thought captive. You feel me? We have to be more intentional about that, because we get stuck in our body and feel as if everything, let me run it back a little bit. Everything starts with a thought. The thought turns into an emotion, which is energy. And that energy turns into an action, which is matter. Everything that we do stems from a thought, right? So in order to act according to God's will, we have to take every single thought captive and understand which ones are taking us down the path of righteousness. Okay. So, because in the end, there's really 2 paths. There's the path of wicked and the path of the righteous. And every choice that we have is one of the 2 paths, wicked and righteous. You feel me? We have to choose on a daily basis. And sometimes we aren't always conscious of that. Sometimes we put ourselves in predicaments where we're in an environment that is reckless. And then something reckless happens to us. And that gets us in the mind state that, what's wrong with me, blah, blah, blah. But really, you're just not taking every thought captive, because the action that you took to put you in that predicament started from a thought that you weren't intentional about choosing. You feel me? You feel what I'm trying to say? So every negative action that happens to us, because if I'm being honest, I don't know if I said this in one of my last videos, but the world is so, yes, we're one collective conscience, but there's 8 billion pieces that come together. We're not in control of 90% of the stuff that happens in our life. I'm coming to tell you that now. A lot of the stuff that happens, you're going to be asking questions. Why, how, when, not when, but why and how. They're the main 2. You feel me? And there's nothing wrong with asking those questions, especially to God, as long as you come to him with humility and sincerity, because he will give you those answers in his own form. He will speak to you how he knows you will hear, you will listen, but you have to have an open heart. You can't have a hardened heart and come to God. You can be angry, but coming against him, because that's not how God doesn't respond to that. I'm gonna just be real. God does not respond to that. So, I thought my mic wasn't on, bruh. Hold up, let me check. Okay, let me get out y'all face. But I think I was saying that God doesn't respond to that. And please don't mistake what I'm saying. God understands that we are human. We get angry. He has emotions as well. So he understands our nature. He understands that we don't understand. We're finite. So we're going to have questions. We're going to be angry. we're going to be left wondering because we don't like being left in the dark. And as humans, for some reason, we like being in control of what's going on. But something we accept in this lifetime, we have to accept in order to be at peace, is to let go of control. That's why surrenderance is so important. That's a whole nother video. But yeah, I was kind of saying that there's so many things that will happen in your life or that have already happened that were not in your control. Just wrong place, wrong time. You were just caught in the crossfire. You feel me? And it's something that happens to us a lot that it's like life just punches you in the mouth. You're just caught so off guard. You feel me? And one thing that we have to realize is, like I said earlier, every choice that we have is a decision between the righteous path and the path of wickedness. Being caught in the crossfire is the process of you not being intentional, of choosing which path, and accidentally like running into somebody who's either on that path of righteousness or in the mind state of that, and you just get caught in the crossfire because you weren't intentional about choosing the path of righteousness. And there's other ways to word it. It doesn't have to be righteousness, but of wisdom, of peace, of, you know what I'm trying to say? All the fruits. Like, you weren't choosing that path. You weren't choosing God's way. You were choosing your way. And your way might be, you might just be blind and run into the path of wickedness, even if that wasn't your intention. So we have to be intentional about what path we're choosing, because I will speak from experience, something that literally just happened to me last night.